Turn E-Mars 7 intelligence that electrifies. Real. Jamghar jahan real party pack tyahan.
Proud to be associated with Kantipur News.
A deeply saddening news comes from our southern neighbor, India. This afternoon, an Air India passenger jet en route from Ahmedabad to London crashed just minutes after departing. It marked one of the deadliest air crashes in recent years and comes during a troubling spike in aviation incidents worldwide. As the devastation unfolds and rescue teams race against time, our thoughts are with the families affected. Good evening, I am Aprila Gising Lama. These are the headlines of the hour. A London-bound Air India plane crashes in Ahmedabad, India shortly after takeoff. Passengers include 169 Indian nationals and 53 Britons. Rescue efforts underway. Deadlock at the House of Representatives continues as major parties fail to find consensus despite series of talks. Nepal witnesses a decline in foreign investment. Inflow of foreign capital weak compared to the amount of profit repatriated. Most FDIs limited to small-scale projects. And new junior national records set in athletics events on the second day of the 15th Central Presidential Running Sports in boys javelin throw, girls 800-meter race and both boys and girls relay events. At least 30 have been confirmed dead as an Air India plane headed to London with 242 people on board crashed minutes after taking off from India's western city of Ahmedabad on Thursday. Aviation tracking site Flight Radar 24 said the plane was a Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner, one of the most modern passenger aircraft in service. The crash occurred when the aircraft was taking off. Media showed the plane taking off over a residential area and then disappearing from the screen before a huge cloud of fire rising into the sky from beyond the houses. The 242 people on board the flight included 217 adults and 11 children. Air India said that of them, 169 were Indian nationals, 53 were Britons, 7 Portuguese and 1 Canadian. Emergency personnel were seen carrying charred bodies from the site, and videos from the scene showed black smoke rising over a residential area. Local police said that the plane crashed into accommodation used by doctors. Now moving on, political parties held discussions to end the deadlock in the House of Representatives. The meeting of the House of Representatives was scheduled for 3 p.m. today. However, the meeting could not commence at the appointed time due to differences in strategy between the ruling and opposition parties regarding how to resume the session.
त्यहाँ प्रतिपक्षको बैठक बसिसकेपछि थाहा हुन्छ अनि के गर्ने भन्ने
अब कुनै न कुनै उपाय निकाल्नुपर्छ भन्ने कुरामा नै अब विश्वको उपाय कोसिस गर्ने भन्ने कुरा छ.
The ruling and opposition parties are also preparing to enter into discussions. The Parliament Secretariat has stated that the meeting has not been called at the scheduled time because the parties remain engaged in talks. Opposition parties have been obstructing the House, demanding the resignation of Home Minister Ramesh Lekhak over the visit visa controversy and calling for action against human trafficking. Since 27th of May, the House has remained paralyzed, preventing the continuation of regular parliamentary proceedings. Although the budget was presented on 29th of May, sessions have either been stalled due to protest or adjourned without entering the agenda. Today's planned session included a proposal by Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister Bishnu Prasad Paudel to hold a general discussion on the annual estimates of revenue and expenditure for the fiscal year 2082-83 BS. Also on the agenda, Chairperson of the State Affairs and Good Governance Committee, Ram Hari Khatiwada, is scheduled to present the committee's report on the Federal Civil Service Bill 2082 BS. It is time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse, brought to you by Global College of Management, the first choice for +2 management. Baneshwar, Kathmandu. Global School of Science, an exclusive center of +2 science. Baneshwar, Kathmandu.
Here's today's question. Why hasn't there been a serious discussion among top leaders about the continuous disruption in the House of Representatives? Your options are A, result of conflict of interest, B, apathy towards Parliament, C, dependent on the Speaker, or D, no comment. Visit www.kantipurtv.com or www.ekantipur.com to share your opinion with us. Now, moving on, an agreement has been reached between Kathmandu Metropolitan City Mayor Balan Shah and Deputy Mayor Sunita Dongol to convene a municipal assembly following months of internal conflict that had stalled executive meetings. The decision came after separate one-on-one discussions and a joint meeting involving the mayor, deputy mayor and 3 ward chairpersons. Prior to this, a dialogue was also held with a 3-member coordination mechanism formed to mediate the dispute. The mechanism included Chairperson of Ward 17, Naveen Mananda, Chairperson of Ward 32, Navaraj Parajuli, and Chairperson of Ward 15, Ishwarman Dongol. Mayor Shah had proposed the inclusion of a secretariat member in the talks, though this proposal was declined by both the Deputy Mayor and coordination members. The group meeting held from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. yesterday resulted in consensus on setting a date for the municipal assembly. Ward 3 Chairperson Prem Thapa confirmed this development and expressed optimism that Wednesday's meeting will help resolve the ongoing issues. During discussions, Mayor Shah reportedly expressed concerns that efforts were being made to isolate him within the executive body, that his personal photos were being released in an attempt to damage his reputation, and that Chief Administrative Officer Saroz Guragai had been forcefully reinstated into the office. A verbal exchange also took place between Mayor Shah and Ward 17 Chairperson Naveen Manandar, according to sources. On the matter of Chief Administrative Officer Guragai, it was agreed that a decision would be made in coordination with the federal government after the policy and budget announcements. For nearly 5 months, executive meetings have been on hold in Kathmandu Metropolitan City due to escalating tensions between the mayor, deputy mayor and ward chairpersons. Now, a plan to guide tourists coming from the Indian border along the riverbank has led to the initiation of the Tinau-Danav corridor construction in Butwal. However, due to obstructions from riverside residents and a lack of budget, the ambitious project worth over 4 billion Nepali rupees remains stalled.
Construction of the Tinau-Danav corridor began 6 years ago with an investment of over 4 billion rupees, aiming to connect Butwal to the Indian border by following the river banks. The federal government started the corridor under the Alternative Auxiliary Highway Development Program in the fiscal year 2019-20 with a budget of over 4 billion rupees. In the first phase, a 30-kilometer stretch of road was contracted along both sides of the Tinau and Danav rivers, covering an area of 50 kilometers. However, in 6 years, visible progress has been limited to opening tracks in a few areas. The construction of the 2-lane corridor along the Tinau and Danav rivers in Butwal was initiated to ensure long-term river management, facilitate road connectivity, and promote ecotourism. However, there were no plans on where or how to relocate those displaced by the project.
बस्ती अथवा बास हट्ने र जोड्ने कुरासँग मात्रै यसलाई इगोको रूपमा लिएको हुनाले यो परियोजनालाई जुन गति लिन पर्ने त्यो गति लिन सकेका छैन। यो हाम्रो लागि दुर्भाग्य हो। यसलाई एकीकृत भोइस बनाएर त्यसलाई मान्छेलाई वैकल्पिक ठाउँमा प्रतिस्थापन गर्ने, उहाँको आवासको सुनिश्चित गराउने र त्यहाँ तीनौं जना कोरिडोर खोल्ने कुरामा जानुपर्छ।
Originating from Palpa and flowing through the Churi range, the banks of Tinau and Danav rivers are now densely populated. Residents occupying the river banks have stood firm in their refusal to allow construction without proper compensation and secure resettlement. This has also contributed to the project's halt.
हाम्रो नदीको किनारमा बस्ती छ, धेरै जसो ठाउँमा बस्ती छ, माथि तिनौतर्फ पनि दानवतर्फ पनि, र त्यो बस्ती हटाउने कमिटमेन्ट स्थानीय सरकारले गरेको आधारमा हामीले ठेक्का खोलियो र अहिले चाहिँ विभिन्न समस्याहरू ती बस्ती हटाउन सकिएको छैन।
Locals claim that nearly 2,000 people live in the corridor area of Butwal. However, a survey conducted 6 years ago identified that 737 houses would need to be relocated. The government, through the local level, had planned to provide alternative housing only to those who did not own land elsewhere. However, the Butwal sub-metropolitan city has not made any concrete plans for where to resettle the affected residents. As per the plan to extend the Tinau-Danav corridor up to Indian border via Merchwar, a detailed study of the remaining 80-kilometer stretch has also been conducted. But with human settlements covering the riverbanks, it remains uncertain how they will be cleared and how the corridor's construction will move forward. A report by Amrita Anmol for Kantipur News from Butwal, Rupandehi.
On the second day of the 15th Central Presidential Running Sports, 4 new junior national records were set in athletics events at Dasrat Stadium, Tripureshwar. These came in the boys' javelin throw, girls' 800-meter race, and both boys and girls' 4x400 meter relay events. 2 records had already been set on the opening day. Bagmati Province's Pravin Rana Magar made headlines on day 1 with a record-breaking performance in the boys' 100-meter sprint. Sudar Paschim Province's Sangeeta BK also set a new record in the girls' 400 meters. In today's girls' 800-meter race, Gandaki Province's Narayani Bhandari clocked a time of 2 minutes 17.9 seconds, breaking the previous records of 2 minutes 28.5 seconds set by Sarita Khatka in 2081 BS. The boys' 4x400 meter relay team from Bagmati, featuring Pravin Rana Magar, Neeraj Tharu, Hasta Sunar and Santa Bahadur Darai, set a new record with a time of 3 minutes 30.9 seconds, narrowly surpassing the previous mark. In the same relay category, the girls' team from Bagmati, Deena Gopali, Anisha Tharu, Bhagwati Khatka and Ashmita Bujel also broke the existing record with a finishing time of 4 minutes 12.8 seconds. Lumini Province's Rahul Tharu made history in the boys' javelin throw with a 57.40 meter throw, breaking the 27-year-old record of 55.50 meters set by Dhirendra Jangsha in 2055 BS. In the girls' javelin event, Sudar Paschim's Pooja Shaud claimed gold with a 30.32 meter throw. Sudar Paschim's Bikram Bista took gold in the boys' 800 meters. Gandaki's Pradeep Mahato triumphed in the long jump, and Bagmati's Anisha Tharu secured the top spot in the girls' long jump. With the conclusion of today's events, a total of 6 records have now been set in athletics. 8 more gold medals will be decided tomorrow. Day 1 featured competition for 10 gold medals, while Day 2 saw 8 events contested. That is all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.